Hello, 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 yeah. Good morning. It is that time of the year again in the gaming industry world where I absolutely ruined my sleep schedule for a week. Yes, it's that time. It's E3. It's coming up in just a couple of days. Skipped last year because of, well, health concerns around the world. And, well, let's take a look at what's coming up and make a few predictions at what will show up. Now, I'm not going to watch all of these, but I will be co-streaming the ones that have my interest. It's going for 4 days straight, starting a little bit earlier this time on a Saturday rather than a Tuesday or whatever, but that's probably because these are all just, well, online screenings. The conference itself, physically, really regularly started on a Tuesday. But the conferences were always on the weekend, so I don't think very much will be different in terms of, personal scheduling and stuff like that. All of these are in Pacific times, and if you're interested in watching my reaction, do feel free to visit my Twitch. For Ubisoft Forward, let's take a look here. I don't really watch the entire thing of this usually. I usually watch a bit of it as a starter to see if I can actually wake up on time, although it's a little bit forgiving because it's actually 5 in the morning for me. And I'm, for the most part, largely expecting just some regular updates regarding Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, and possibly Watch Dogs. Ubisoft tends to be a little bit businesslike. It has a good mix of being entertaining and businesslike, and they report on updates on their games quite regularly. So I don't expect anything absolutely surprising in this stream, aside from just showing brand new gameplay and all that. Next would be the Gearbox showcase, and this I have absolutely no idea because Gearbox has never made a stream before. This seems to be lumped in by the media along with the Ubisoft one. It'll just continue straight after, and well, for the most part, I'm kind of hoping for Brothers in Arms, although everyone, they always ask for that. I'm very much in love with Brothers in Arms. Yeah, I don't really know what else would be announced here as a big surprise. They do have Borderlands, although they did, release that a couple years ago, so it's not really the right time to, announce a Borderlands 4, I think. So this will probably be just general news, in my opinion. However, for the second half of Ubisoft and Gearbox, I'm probably going to skip out on them entirely, and that is because of Devolver Digital's conference, which is actually occurring at the same time. Of course, for the most part, if you've seen me in the previous E3s, I usually skip the second half of Ubisoft anyway. And this Devolver Digital thing is going to be quite exciting. Monetization as a service. It's well, it's going to be quite exciting. It's going to be the future of gaming. I'm really looking forward to throwing my money at the monitor and hoping it gets sucked in, and hopefully not lose my hand in the process. This has always been a fantastic satire of just general E3 culture, and it's been a huge bit of relief, I suppose, and lightheartedness given the most recent E3s. And it'll be interesting to see how they parody everything. For the next day will be the E3 Xbox and Bethesda game showcase, which was rather interesting because, well, Bethesda's being lumped in as a brand name with Xbox this time around. In previous E3s, Bethesda struck out on their own, but this year, Bethesda has been acquired by Xbox, so they're relying on a bit of brand power here by calling it both the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase. This will be in 3 in the morning for me, which is going to be quite strenuous, and well, for the most part, I'm expecting some new Halo Infinite footage, possibly a release date, and if Bethesda has their act together, possibly some Starfield footage and a release date. Usually, the trend for Bethesda has always been to announce their release date on the same year as the game comes out. So, for example, when Skyrim was shown off at E3, they usually have a big trailer and actually have November as the release date, and the same happened for Fallout 4. Other items for Xbox, in the most part, I'm probably going to expect some kind of new information regarding Xbox Game Pass, perhaps another collaboration, because they do have EA Play, and well, possibly another acquisition, because Xbox is really trying to have a strong pool of developers, so they might announce a couple of new acquisitions. Not really sure who's left to acquire, but for all of the companies that they do currently own, I am actually kind of hoping for something from Obsidian, particularly their new Pillars of Eternity Elder Scrolls rival, Avowed. I'm very much a fan of the Pillars of Eternity universe. Straight after that, will be the Square Enix showcase, and usually in the past, the Square Enix, I remember seeing those press conferences, and this was like purely dry business, although they've probably improved in that respect, and they're doing it as part of the Square Enix Presents series of live streams that they usually do. Although they're dry business conferences, those were quite a number of years ago. And it says here that there will be a world premiere from Eidos Montreal. Probably mangling that pronunciation. Now, for the most part, the majority of Square Enix's announcements I'm expecting to actually occur in Xbox, and that's usually been the trend. So a new Final Fantasy 16 trailer will probably be here. Possibly some Kingdom Hearts content. It's probably a bit too early for that, although there is meant to be, there's very strong signs of a sequel of some kind. But for the Square Enix Present, they're quite fond of remasters, so I'm expecting perhaps an announcement of a remaster. But the most curious thing here is probably what's coming from Eidos Montreal, because they were, for the most part, acquired because of Deus Ex, and Deus Ex has been quite a quiet franchise. So this is more or less a blind guess, but since the main thing coming out of Eidos Montreal was the Deus Ex series, they might be announcing a new Deus Ex, or possibly a remaster of the original. I mean, I'll be quite happy with both. I've always kind of wished for a remaster or remake of the original, actually. Well, we'll just have to see. So quite thankfully, this will be at a bit of a reasonable time. It'll be straight after the Xbox One. So about 5 in the morning for me. And, well, usually, for anything after that, like the PC gaming show, I usually skim it. I don't really live stream it. And that's because the PC gaming show is very much a combination of short announcements as well as hardware announcements. It tends to stretch on a bit too long for me. It's a bit of a talk show, which is really nice when you're having, when it's actually, when you're actually relaxing, but it is quite early in the morning for me, so I usually skim over it. For Monday, there's pretty much nothing in particular that piques my interest. I'm surprised Intellivision is alive. It's probably been acquired and, well, it's working under a different name. But at the very end, there is Capcom, and I have absolutely no idea what will be announced here. It says, they say that they're going to announce more information about just a bunch of stuff that's already been released at this point, or about to release, particularly the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. So this will probably just be news updates and extra information, although I do have my fingers crossed about a new Mega Man. It's been a couple of years, and I'm hoping that they'll just leave, they'll leave just a little bit of a tease. Capcom is very shy about Mega Man now, especially after Mega Man 11 came out, and they really want to be sure of something before they announce something. I mean, they skipped over the Battle Network anniversary entirely and simply made a press release saying that they weren't ready. But I'm really hoping for something new there. I don't think they'll announce a new game, though my fingers are crossed for that. But what I am interested in is Rockman X Dive, because there's been inklings of a possible Steam release for that. So Rockman X Dive is a bit of a mobile game spin-off. I'll be looking forward to playing that if that ever happens. But again, it's possible that it's still too early for that, because it seems to be very preliminary for Rockman X Dive as well. The final thing will be on the final day, will be the Nintendo Direct. And this is usually the last and most exciting thing. And for this, I have absolutely no idea. Nintendo has always done their best at having at least one absolute surprise. And, well, you may remember my absolute insanity when Trials of Mana was announced, as well as the Trials of Mana SNES translation. Although that's technically, a Square Enix product, Square Enix tends to announce their products in other conferences, which is why I'm quite curious about why, they have this featured prominently for their thing. So usually they pepper their announcements throughout the Xbox and Nintendo Directs. So it's quite possible that they'll, Square Enix will announce something here. But for the most part, not really sure. I'm expecting a bit more Zelda information. If not a trailer, then at least an update giving some progress. Which is, they try to be open about that. They did that for Breath of the Wild. And one thing that I'll probably would like an update on is Metroid Prime 4. Even if there's no information on it, they only showed a logo when they teased it several years ago, and they restarted development. So, for the most part, I'm kind of just wishing for a bit of a status update saying that, they haven't forgotten it, or anything like that. But aside from that, this is the one where I will probably be most surprised at, and I'm never good at predicting what's going to come up. Might be a Kirby. I don't expect Smash Brothers, to be honest. But well, hopefully a Zelda game. Hardware announcements? Possibly not. I really don't think so, because there is still a pretty significant semiconductor shortage going on in the world, so it's not really the most appropriate time to release a new iteration of the Nintendo Switch and just have a bit of a hardware update. And, well, yeah. After all that, though, there is this awards show as well. For Bandai Namco, I should probably cover that as well. I'm probably not going to watch this. I mean, it's going to be significantly later. I have no idea what's, going to be in it. But, I can't even remember who's publishing what. So, yeah. For the awards show, this is a bit odd, because, E3's, E3 has kind of gotten away from itself, right? It's supposed to be a media conference. And I still treat it as a media conference. I don't really care much for all the glamour. And I very much just look for just updates on what's coming up. Well, we have the Game Awards, so yeah, I'm probably not going to pay much attention to the awards show, to be honest. I guess it's, I have no idea what this is going to be like. So, yeah, I prefer there to be a bit of a separation between, media information and an award show, because we have the Game Awards, and E3 I still want it to be a bit of a, just an annual news release. Call me old-fashioned, but you know, that's the way I like it. And yeah, those are all my predictions. I expected this to be a bit of a 1 minute quick thing, but well, anyway, I'll see you in a couple of days, or you can see my highlights. I'll try to put highlights on YouTube, of course, but if you would like to see my reactions live, do feel free to join in on Twitch. Bye bye.